Off the Ball. I'm sure you would have seen this morning Ronan O'Gara has joined up. We are delighted to have him. But GAA season is up and running. We decided we needed to make a big name signing. We needed a target man. We needed good hands. We needed a winning smile. Kieran Donaghy, you're very welcome.
Thanks a million, boy.
Welcome
good
aboard.
To be here. Yeah, great to be here. Yeah, looking forward to it.
You've crossed over to the dark side, media.
Yeah, I wouldn't really call it crossover. I was always very open to the media.
That's
so,
true.
You know, it's kind of keeps me involved in the game. It's, you know, it's exciting. I'm a talker in a way.
Yes,
so,
you're made for Off the Ball, I think.
Yeah, hopefully. That's the plan.
So, you're going to be pretty involved. You're going to be on the evening show with myself and Nathan from time to time, pretty regularly, especially across the summer when things ramp up and over the league. You're going to be on OTB GAA with Ger and Owen. You're going to be on our new football show as well, which is on across the year. And maybe even doing a bit of presenting yourself. You're a Pardon the Interruption fan. There may be a Pardon the Interruption-esque type show which you're
I think
hosting.
Exactly, yeah. Looking forward to getting stuck into that. I just think it'll be something different. You get to cover a wide variety of sports, and I think most of the people that listen to Off the Ball, you know, we get a piece of everything. We get our piece of horse racing, we get our bit of American sports, we get obviously our Irish games, the Premiership, La Liga, all that kind of stuff. So they're all stuff that, you know, I spend a lot of time sitting down when I get a chance to watch a bit of TV. Good. So looking forward to getting stuck into it.
How's retirement been? And I suppose not so much in the sense that you're now out of it a few months and watching games, because with basketball you would have been watching the occasional league game anyway. You weren't always back straight away. I almost mean not being around the gym. It is now a landmark in sport that you have to leave the WhatsApp group.
Yeah.
All of these moments.
Yeah.
Reality is starting to hit home.
Yeah.
How have you found it? Because it is an adjustment. It's not easy.
It's not easy. And you know, and don't take me lightly on this. People struggle with it, and I always had the feeling that I wouldn't struggle with it.
Why do you think that was?
One, because I'm busy. And busy is good, and I think that's what a lot of the professional sports stars struggle with. They finish and all of a sudden this routine and this training and diet and all this is gone, and they actually don't know what to do. Whereas, you know, the last few years, and I think Eamon Fitzmaurice credit, he allowed me to play the basketball. You know, I knew I could work hard during that part of the season as well with my job. I was getting my gym work in, and I knew then come the summer that it'd have to be kind of football takes precedence and it's number one. So, you know, that was the goal of it. You know, and it'll probably kind of stay like this because we all know club football. I'm in with Aston Stacks. They're in the gym eating the weights.
Yeah.
I've put it off long enough. I'm back in next week, which will be a rude awakening. But yeah, so I knew that not much is changing. Of course, you're out of the Kerry setup, which is a big blow because, you know, that's from a kid from Kerry, that's the dream, to be involved with playing with Kerry. So I was very, very lucky to be able to be there for so long, and that injury didn't pull me out early, or circumstances didn't get me away from it, or, you know, I was able to kind of, you know, make my own call on it, which was great. And so yeah, not too much has changed, but I am out of the bubble. I'm not in the gym with the boys. You know, I'm lucky enough to be very friendly with a lot of them, so I'll keep in touch.
Without being that annoying fella asking how things are going in training.
Absolutely, yeah. No, I'll be very I'll be wary of that, as we'd say down in Kerry.
But they'll only have to lie to your face, is the problem.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And they'll have no problem doing that either. I'm sure they're cute enough. They're well used to it.
So the body's good in the sense that you're obviously going to continue with Austin Stacks for the next however long, maybe even years, and basketball as well. Yeah, you'll keep trucking.
I will. Yeah. As long as I'm lucky enough and as the body will carry me, and I enjoy it, I love it. I kind of feel like I need, you know, to keep the competitive edge going. Basketball certainly is. We're tied for second in the table. Again, like the last few years, there's 4 or 5 teams in the hunt for the Super League trophy, so there's 9 or 10 games to go. So it's very even training last night was all, we're still tweaking and we're nitpicking at things and we're trying to improve all the time. So
that gets you going.
I love that part of it. I love trying to get better as a team more so than, you know, an individual thing. I love trying to figure out how we can be better and coming up with ideas in that front.
And with regard to punditry and coming on board with Off the Ball, for instance, did any part of you think it's a bit too soon? I'm a bit too friendly with too many players in that Kerry team for one thing, and maybe I should just take a step back for a year? Or did you know right away I want to get stuck in here?
I think the boys will know me. You know, the boys will know, and I think whatever I say, they'll take in goodwill. They'll know it's coming from the right place. I won't be out lassoing anybody at all, but you know, I will be calling it as I see it. But at the same time, you know, management is something that interests me, so it's a good way to keep in touch. It's a good way to be getting behind the goals footage. It's a good way to be getting.
Yeah.
I might be doing a lot of research, but I'm also learning all the time. So I'm also kind of, you know, thinking that you don't want to be away from it too long if you go into the world of management. So then there's a part of me kind of saying that this is a good way to keep me in the loop for something that might happen in a few years down the road.
Well, good, okay. We'll give James Horn a few years to win an All-Ireland, and then you can go and win a few All-Irelands with Kerry, and we'll have a little revolving door. That's how it's been working.
That's what Nathan wants anyway, I'm sure.
Right, let's kick things off. We're going to start you off with a quickfire.
Oh yeah?
Hit.
Okay.
Yeah, we've been on. Listeners have been coming in with some questions they want to get your thoughts on. We'll get the ball rolling. We don't have time in our brief time together today to get through all of football's ills.
Okay.
There's a full year ahead to do that. Don't worry.
No problem.
Generally, negativity and moaning, just a tip, goes very well with the GAA.
Yeah, I'm not that negative. I'm not much of a moaner, so.
No, that's true. Okay, we are going to start your quick fire OTB introductory hit now. Are you ready? Okay. This won't be long. 2 minutes, quick answers. You can give me a why here as well.
Okay.
Your favourite GAA pundit?
Joe Bradley.
Why?
Because he's mad.
Toughest opponent and why?
Aidan O'Mahony. Hardy. Hard as nails.
Steph, Curry or LeBron?
LeBron.
If you could change one rule in football?
I'd bring in the 50-metre mark rule from the Aussie rules and take away the black card and yellow cards and all them sim bins and all that kind of stuff.
What's Donaghy's go-to on Netflix at the moment?
Love.
Outside of GAA, who's your favourite sports pundit?
Outside of GAA, who's my favourite sports pundit? Charles Barkley.
What is your OTB walk-on music in future?
Eye of the Tiger.
Eye of the Tiger. Does football need a tiered championship?
Yes.
Most likely to stop Dublin in 2019?
Mayo or Kerry.
Kieran Donaghy's pre-game superstitions?
Socks up.
2019 All-Ireland football champions?
Kerry.
2019 All-Ireland hurling champions?
Galway.
NBA final winners?
Warriors.
Done. We're done. Right, I'm picking you up on your first issue then. All-Ireland football champions 2019 Kerry. I'm calling bullshit on that. In a massive way. Yeah. Come off it.
Go on, gimme.
I don't need to explain why not. You gimme.
I think that the new management structure have come in, and I think the real focus of what they've maybe seen as a weak part of our game, or somewhere we weren't too efficient on over the last few years, is defensively.
Yeah. 10 goals conceded in the league last year. Clearly they've decided to button down on that so far this year.
Exactly. I think we conceded 5-23 in the first two games last year. We've conceded 20 points this year with no actual goal chance at all. So that's only in a very short space of time. Tommy Griffin is in there. I'd say Peter would have worked with him closely on the defensive side with the minors the last few years.
Yeah. And
then he's also added in Donny Buckley, who, as we know, got Mayo's tackling to an excellent level over the years. So I would say Peter is really trying to focus in that part of the game to get us more defensively sound. I think if we can keep that up and we can keep improving on it, and we're bringing in the pace of the guys that we saw last year, the Tom Sullivans, the Bream Begleys, and you've them attacking, getting us out of that. And then if you can get Clifford, Gainey and O'Donoghue fit and get it up to them, whatever way you line them up there, I just think you have a chance in any game. I think they'll also be very sore that they didn't get out of the Super 8s last year, so that'll be a major bone of contention for them. So I see them really not getting caught like they did last year, like we did last year against Galway in that first game, where all of a sudden we're like, oh shit, we're going to have to
now,
now we have to go to Clones and get a result, whereas that game was coming, but you always thought that we'll get a result, we'll find a way to get a result. It doesn't happen.
So you make a compelling argument that Kerry are going to improve. There's no doubt they will.
Yeah.
But closing that gap on Dublin, I don't suspect Kerry are going to come all the way to Dublin's level. Do you suspect Dublin are going to have to come back a little bit, and you're thinking they might come back?
I think there'll be a bit of both in it. It's very hard to make history. They're going for 5 in a row. There's a few of their key players getting a bit older all the time. Saying that they're bringing through unbelievable youth. So, just that the Bomber listened to me an awful long time ago that it's hard to make history. And Kilkenny have tried it, and the great Kerry team have tried it, and these boys will try it, and they're probably in the best position to do it because of the squad they have.
And in some ways they are making history as they've gone on over the last number of years.
Yeah, well, you have to get 5 to make the history, because teams have done 4 before. So when I'm saying it's hard to make history, that's what I'm talking about, is getting that.
Within the pressure cooker of Dublin, they're breaking all sorts of records about what's in terms of what's gone before them. And, you know, beyond the 4 in a row, go back to since 2011, they're doing remarkable things.
They are, because they've got the team to.
Yeah, so it strikes me actually they'll take 5 in a row and they won't be blasé about it and won't shrug their shoulders. But I think they'll handle it.
That's very possible. That's all well and good, but when it starts being an everyday thing, and fellas, or you get to semi-final or you're getting to a final, and it's coming at you left, right, and centre. It's just you say, I'm not thinking about it, but you are, and it's a wasteful energy. And I just think
that's an interesting point. Wasteful energy. So have you experienced anything?
I have.
Parallel to that?
I think I have. I haven't really, because Dublin have obviously done the 3 in a row since. But when we were going for 3 in a row against Tyrone, and 2 in a row was a huge thing. It hadn't been done in 20 years, and we did it. I was like, 7. Oh my God, we have to go back to back. Isn't that great? Straight away, it was nothing but back to back. It was all, well, you have to kind of do the 3 in a row.
Okay.
This Kerry team did the 3 in a row, and that Kerry team did the 3 in a row. And if you want to be up there with them teams, this is what you have to do. So,
did you sense at the time, as that season was progressing, I don't like the feel of this?
No, we didn't, because we were bar a blip in the last 10 minutes of the semi-final against Cork in 08. We were solid enough throughout the year, and we were looking forward to getting another chance against Tyrone in the final. So in my eyes, it was all falling perfectly.
Okay.
We should have beaten Cork the first day. Dara got sent off. He rabbit punched Pearson Neal out in the middle of the field. He was gone. He was going to miss the final. We were 6 points up or something with 3 or 4 minutes to go. Cork got a goal, got a penalty a minute later. We're all walking off the pitch. It's a draw. Dara's above rubbing his hands, kind of going, it'll be Cork in the replay, and I'll be back for a final.
Yes.
So we had that back. Galvin was coming back after the 6-month ban, so I was kind of thinking, it's working out nicely. We're getting 2 guys that we probably mightn't have had. Now we're getting them back for a final. Tyrone had some inspirational plays in the day to wrestle momentum off us at times. We got it back. We were level with 10 or 15 minutes to go, but there you go again. They maybe wanted it a bit more. They were 3 years without one.
Yeah, in hindsight, what role do you feel the quote unquote pressure of 3 in a row played?
I just think it's nothing to do with the game, I feel, because you can't think you're not out there going, oh my God, we're trying to do 3 in a row. So it's not in your head.
You're not nervous on the pitch.
You're not nervous on the pitch. It's just it's the non-stop in the lead up to it.
Yeah. Okay.
I was working in the bank at the time. I couldn't shake it. You know what I mean? Like, did I play well? I didn't perform to what I wanted to do. Half my family is from Tyrone, 3 in a row, listening to it every day in the bank. It just built up in me, and I didn't give my one of my better performances in an All-Ireland final. So I don't know. And then there's the other side of the hunger of the opposition. And Monaghan could have beaten us that year in a quarter final, or maybe at the last qualifier round. They had us, and we got out of jail. So it's the hunger of the other teams wanting to beat you. It's the Mayos coming this year. It's the Monaghans. It's the Galways. It's the Kerrys. They're all coming for you. And they've been coming for Dublin for 4 years. And don't get me wrong, Dublin have swatted us all away. But, it's that 5 in a row. It's going to take a team to do it. And it's tough.
It's interesting, because Billy Joe Padden was on last night, and I put it to him that around this time, or maybe a bit later in the year, but certainly early on in the summer last year, I remember Billy Joe and I talking, and I said to him, I have a feeling this could be Dublin's easiest All-Ireland yet, because Mayo weren't going well. And we were talking last night, and he says, I'm already starting to get the same feeling, that actually, far from this being in the trenches and difficult and full of pressure, this could be another, it's the wrong word to use, but this could be another easy Dublin All-Ireland in comparison with previous years. So it's good that you're not seeing it that way.
They're
early days as well.
Yeah, but they're hard won. All Ireland's are hard won.
Last year's was not hard won by Dublin standards.
It wasn't. You're right, but every other one before that was.
It was war. So I'm wondering, are Mayo the only team?
Mayo, certainly, from the game I watched in Healy Park last week, and the type of players they've found, the Fionn McDonough's, big, tall, rangy, athletic guys. I love the fact that they've Diarmuid O'Connor in the midfield now, who again is a runner. That half-back line of Keegan, Boyle and Durkin is you're probably going to get 4 or 5 points off of that half-back line. And they'll mark their men, and they're tough, and they're hungry, they're starved, they're actually out of their mind. So they're going to be right. They're going to be at the pitch of it. Andy Moran's come back.
Yeah.
And he's not coming back for
the crack.
The crack. Andy wants to get a medal.
Yeah.
And Mayo want a medal badly. and they'll be hard stopped this year. And again, there'll be a crowd that you'll have to go to Castlebar for a game. No, they missed the Super 8s last year, but it was a bit freakish how they missed it.
Yeah.
You're going to have to go to Castlebar in a championship game with 35,000 Mayo people out of their mind above there. you're going to struggle to come out of there with a result, whoever goes up there.
Yeah.
So it's really, they'll can see them nudging their way into semi-final, and yeah, they've really matched Dublin well when they've matched them in the last few years. And Kerry last year was an awful disappointment with the fact that we didn't get to a semi-final. It was a huge disappointment, but like the 4 retirements, really, myself included, didn't have a major influence on what Kerry were doing last year. I think all the younger guys that have been kind of minded by the David Morans and the Paul Murphys and the Tyg Morleys and these younger fellas are now another year older.
Yeah.
Shawnee Shea's looked that he's come on a bit. Clifford will be Clifford. They're like Monaghan frustrate me at times because I like them as a team, and when they're playing well, they're really good to watch. But they let you down sometimes too quickly for my liking. Like they had a massive win against Dublin, then they go lose to Roscommon on the road. It's you just want a bit more consistency. But on their day in Croke Park, I know all about it. They should have beaten us in 07 and 08. On their day, they could be dangerous again this year. So there's a lot of teams that can.
Okay, you've reinvigorated my hopes.
Well,
good. Before you go, just in general terms, Jim Gavin, after the Monaghan game, rare for him, got up and made comments about the state of the game. Talked about, in his eyes, fairly nonsensical state of affairs where the mark is here for the next 4, 5, 6 games and then disappearing for the summertime. Like, well, I'm a coach, what am I meant to do with that? It's nonsense. But the line which jumped out at me from Jim Gavin was that the hierarchy in the GAA, the rules committee, all these people who are overseeing the game, they've never articulated a vision, was the phrase used. They've never articulated a vision for where they want the game of football to get to.
Yeah.
And there's a general sense that we're in a bit of trouble here with football. Your thoughts on the state of the game generally? It's a big topic to open with not much time, but did you enjoy playing it less as it went on? Do you enjoy watching it less? And what can we do to fix that, if fixing is what needs to be done?
I think what we have too much in football, hurling last year everybody was raving, it was great, okay? Football was so you can't compare them as games, first of all, but what's separating them at the moment is a lot of tight contests in the hurling, a lot of great games, you don't really know who's going to win, a lot of massive battles, close games between very good teams. Compare that to the football, we don't really get that. You were hoping to get it in the Super 8s and we didn't even get it last year. Monaghan and Kerry was the best game because it was a close game.
Yeah.
That's all. That's what made it the best game. It wasn't great football. Both teams
set up the
made
winning
loads
goal,
of mistakes.
but whatever.
I think you're talking about the mark. What does the mark bring in? The opportunity for more 50-50 balls to be kicked into forwards, a bit more excitement. If you're at a game and you see that ball going in, there's a bit of excitement around it. A man can catch it, kick a point, he can catch it and give it off to somebody. Hurling is brilliant that way. There's balls flaked in on top of fellas. It's best man wins. And I think late on in football games is where most of the frustration happens, if even a game is within 3 or 4 points, because your black cards, your sin bins, whatever you want to call it, that's the one rule that I think is making a balls of it in essence. It's not delivering on what it's supposed to do. You're getting patted on the back for being in the sin bin with 3 minutes to go if you pull down a fella going through on goals. You were being patted on the back if you took a black card. That shouldn't be the way. So the 50-metre rule they have in the Aussie rules is the most simple rule to ref. No, you don't need boards, you don't need fourth officials. If a cynical foul happens anywhere on the pitch, the ref blows the whistle, runs 50 metres up the pitch, boys put down the ball, bang it over the bar, you're punishing the scoreboard, and all of a sudden you've teammates. If you're on my team and you pull some fella down in the middle of the field and they go in and get a 13-yard free, I'm telling you, no, Joe, cut that out. We don't need a tackle properly. Maybe look at it that way. If the cynical foul happens inside the 21, if you get it and you beat your cornerback and you're bearing through and he pulls you down, automatic penalty. No cards, no fuss, no wasting time. The Aussie rules have it for if you don't give the ball back in the full. So if I have it and I'm fouled and or if you have it and you're fouled and the ball spills to me, what happens in the GAA now is I kick the ball away or roll it away. The ref at the worst case would bring it up 10 yards. By that case, we've everybody back.
And what about the more general trends, i.e. too many games where we flick it on of a Sunday to watch a match and there is endless lateral hand passing back and forth? Teams are well set defensively now, which is admirable, and the game is moving on. And equally, teams in possession don't want to give away possession needlessly, which I think is admirable and a sign of sophistication. The game is starting to understand the value of possession. That's a good thing. However, those two things colliding right now are making for an awful lot of middle third nothingness.
Yeah, that is a conundrum when it is tight, because you can't force teams to give away the ball.
No.
You know, you can
incentivise them to take more risk. That's what we're trying to do with the mark, I suppose.
It is, and you wondered by Jim Gavin, why is he working on it? He's not working on it because it's not going to come into effect for 18 months. So, you know, they had 18 times they kicked the ball in against Monaghan that it bounced once or twice before it hit a fella in the chest. The reason that's not hitting the fella in the chest straight away is it's a harder kick. There's more risk to it. Technically, it's harder to pull off that. Yep. You know, it's easier to bounce it a few yards short. So again, that's them not risking the ball in, because that's the way they're going to play in the championship. And I understand completely why he's doing that. If I was going for 5 in a row, I wouldn't give a shit what rules they brought in the league. I wouldn't be playing to them. I'd be playing my normal style, trying to coach that. That's a hard one to figure out. But I think what's helping that is and what's going to help it, that kind of stuff you're talking about, is a team winning and taking a black card and a guy is off in a sin bin and now they've 14 men behind the ball and the team are trying to figure it out, or vice versa. A team is trying to score, our team is trying to hold on to a lead and they're just going backwards. It's a hard one to try and, you know, what you really want then is when a team is passing around the back line is you want the team to go on an all-out press. Exactly. But, you know, I just don't think the coaching has got to that degree. Like, if we're losing a basketball game, if we're down 8 points in a basketball game with 2 minutes to go, we're in a full court press. And what you're actually giving up is the opportunity that they're going to get an easy layup, which i.e. be like an easy point. But you get the ball back. So now you get a chance to go up and get a goal, or in basketball, you get a chance to go up and get a 3-pointer to lower the... But what we do is and we experienced it with Donegal in 14. We were 3 or 4 points up with 5 or 6 minutes to go, and they're sitting back in their blanket, because that's what they were doing. But it has to be more than that. Like, you have to have a game plan that if we're losing by 4 or 5 points with 10 minutes to go, what are we doing? We should be up. We should be forcing fellas to beat us, and then you chase them down from behind, so they have to make a decision with you coming from behind rather than standing off them and allowing them to pass it around. So I think that's an actual coaching thing that we have to get better at, from a players and a coaching perspective, is that, hold on now a minute, let's give up a point. Worst case scenario. We go to 4 down, but we get the ball back. Can we then go up and work a goal? That's the chance you have to take. There's no point chasing the ball around for 5 minutes and not get it. So I think that's on us as players and coaches to improve. A team is never going to be kicking the ball up for grabs with 3 minutes to go when we're winning by a goal. It's just not going. They're going to hold on to the ball, but you have to force them to hold on to it in areas they don't want to hold on to it. So that's a whole other ball game. But, you know, I still think there's certain the tier championship thing that you mentioned earlier on.
Well, then you get your close games.
You get your close games.
A close finish covers up a lot. And
it mightn't even be necessarily close games, but it could be Kerry going up to Donegal or in Division 2 now, Kerry going up to Ballybuffet. That's a hard game to call. You know, that's a hard game to call. Dublin going to Ballybuffet is a hard game to call, but it's a Division 1 and Division 2 team. But you're never going to have that if Dublin are going down to Wicklow. You might have it hard for a few minutes. But I don't understand why the Division 3 and Division 4 teams don't want a structure where they can get up into Division 2 or get up.
I think it's turning.
I
think the latest surveys are starting to suggest they understand what's the point in taking hammerings.
Yeah, if I was playing with them teams training all year and my family and all that were out to watch me, you get a big day out and it might be on TV against Dublin, but geez, I prefer to get into TV, you know, and we have it in the hurling. It's you know, teams know they can't be competitive with the top teams in the hurling, and they're happy to go nose to nose with other teams, get good games and have that bit of feel-good value coming out after a win, whereas...
I agree with you. I think it's the biggest issue right now. It's the easiest fix.
It's the easiest fix, but again, you have to go through Congress and how long that takes, 5 years. And
we'll do the Congress show with you in a couple of weeks' time when you're well settled. Listen, I can already tell this is going to be fun. We're all delighted you're here.
No bother, thanks.
I have just got word from reception. You drove in, did you?
I did.
You're parked in Pat Kenny's space. That's a sackable offence.
I was told to park in Pat Kenny's face.
It's a sackable offence.
I was only too delighted to park as he
You realise if Pat Kenny knows this, you're a dead man.
Tell him I'll meet him downstairs in the car park there in 2 minutes.
We've never seen the last person who parked in Pat Kenny's face.
He's gone missing.
Last seen that very day.
Jesus.
Last chance. Who's going to win the All-Ireland 2019?
Dublin will pile under pressure.
Kieran Donaghy, welcome aboard. Come on.
Yeah, thanks a million, Joe.
Off the Ball on News Talk.
In Thursday's Irish Independent, don't miss Exam Brief in partnership with Yates College, your essential Leaving Cert exam guide. We explore each subject in depth with advice on study techniques, exam answer strategy and timings. This week, explore Leaving Cert Business and Finance with unmissable tips on how to stay ahead